If you're a road design engineer, you know debris flow is a constant, messy battle. So today, we're going to do a technical deep dive into a really innovative new structure that promises a smarter, much more efficient way to protect our roadways.
All right, so here's our game plan. We'll start by outlining the growing risk, and then we'll look at the problems with the conventional methods we've been using. From there, we'll break down this new structure, really analyze its capture mechanism, and see how it's actually performing out in the real world before we wrap up with the key takeaways.
You know, it's no secret that with the increasing frequency of heavy rainfall, our road networks are at a much greater risk. The sheer volume of debris and driftwood that gets mobilized during these storms, well, it demands countermeasures that are way more robust and effective than what we've had.
Okay, so this brings us right to the heart of the problem for engineers. The conventional tools we have for this job, well, they come with some pretty significant drawbacks.
So, a pretty typical approach you'll see is this embankment pocket design. You've got a barricade structure that's built upstream from the road's drainage culvert in its own dedicated space. The goal is to catch all that big debris before it can clog everything up. Now, the principle is sound, right? But when you get down to real-world execution, that's where the challenges pop up. And this is where things get tricky from a project management standpoint. First off, you have to acquire extra land, which is often in difficult terrain, and that just adds cost and complexity. Then there's the maintenance. Access can be a real headache. And on top of all that, there's often a lack of standardized design guidance, meaning engineers are basically starting from scratch every time. So to tackle these exact problems, researchers came up with a really elegant new solution, an integrated blockage mitigation structure.
And this right here, this just brilliantly illustrates the core innovation. On the left, you've got the old way, separate from the road. But on the right, you see the new structure built directly into the toe of the embankment. It becomes part of the road's footprint, completely wiping out the need for additional land and making maintenance access incredibly simple. Okay, so let's get into the specifics of what this thing is. The blockage mitigation structure has a concrete main body that's integrated right into the embankment. It's got a channel that leads to the culvert, and that channel is covered by a screen of horizontal steel members. The whole idea is to trap that nasty debris while letting water pass straight through. All right, now we're getting to the technical heart of this thing. How does it actually work so well? This is where the engineering gets super clever. I mean, the design looks pretty simple on the surface, right? But its effectiveness, man, it all comes down to one critical and, frankly, kind of non-obvious element. So what is the secret sauce here? What gives it this nearly perfect capture rate? To figure this out, the researchers built a 1:100 scale model. For the first test run, they simulated a debris flow hitting just the permeable screen members with no other structural support behind them. And the result? A sediment capture rate of only 28%. Yeah, not great. What was happening was the flow was just moving way too fast. It prevented the gravel and debris from forming stable arches against the screen, so most of it just blasted right on through. Okay, now for round 2. The setup is exactly the same, but this time they add one simple thing. A solid concrete backboard wall right behind the screen, creating that enclosed channel. And boom, the capture rate skyrockets to an incredible 97%. I mean, what a massive difference. But the why behind this is what's really fascinating. It's not just about having a solid wall there to stop things. This chart really puts that huge leap in performance into perspective for both sediment and wood. The real magic here is all about hydrodynamics. That backboard wall, it creates backwater pressure inside the channel. And that pressure is the key. It dramatically slows down the flow just before it hits the screen. That drop in energy lets the sediment and driftwood just gently settle and get captured instead of blasting through. And look, this isn't just some promising theory from a lab. Oh no, this design has already been fully implemented, moving from the experiment to a major highway project. So its first real-world application was right here, on a section of the Chikuko Crossing Expressway in Japan's Hyogo Prefecture. This new stretch of highway opened back in March 2022, and it has these structures built right into it at several spots identified as high risk for debris flow. And there you have it, going from the drawing board to the real world. You can just see how cleanly it fits into the natural slope of the embankment. And they even thought about long-term maintenance. See those screen members? They're actually built in modular units, so if one gets damaged by a big impact, you can just unbolt it and replace it. Super practical. All right, let's pull this all together and highlight the crucial points that really matter from a design and engineering perspective.
So when you boil it all down, these are the essential takeaways. The integrated design completely solves those big logistical problems of land and access. The backboard wall is the secret sauce, using hydraulic principles to get that insanely high capture rate. And finally, the whole thing is built for the long haul with that modular, easy-to-maintain design. It's a proven, efficient, and really high-performance solution.
So this leaves us with a pretty important thought for the future. As we keep getting hit with more and more extreme weather, innovations like this aren't just nice-to-haves. They're fundamental building blocks for making our infrastructure more resilient. The real question for all of us is, how do we accelerate the adoption of these smarter designs and get them into all of our future projects faster?